Welcome to another DIY kit. Everything you need to complete a do-it-yourself project. For detailed lists, instructions, and more, go to DIYnet.com and click on DIY Kits. Today's kit will show you how to properly paint a ceiling and is brought to you exclusively by Ace. To get started, you'll need ceiling paint, painter's tape, a roller and brush, a 5-gallon bucket and roller grid, a handle extension, and drop cloths. Unless you're painting your ceiling the same color and finish as your walls, you should begin by masking off the tops of the walls with painter's tape. Next, paint the corners and edges with a brush. If you're painting the ceiling white, make sure to use ceiling paint, which is usually thicker and less likely to drip. You might even consider using special paints that roll on blue but dry white. These types of products provide a sharp contrast and help ensure complete coverage and an even finish. Apply paint to any areas that won't be easily accessible with a roller, and then pour a gallon or two of the ceiling paint into a 5-gallon bucket that has been fitted with a roller grid. Dip the roller into the paint and make several passes over the grid. Using a relatively dry roller will help reduce splattering. Be sure to paint and roll in sections so that you are rolling paint onto edges that are still wet. This will allow for a smoother transition between the brushed and rolled areas. Apply the paint diagonally and in the same direction to avoid creating visible lap marks. And if you're painting a textured ceiling or acoustic ceiling tiles, be sure to use a roller pad with a higher nap. Continue painting the ceiling in sections until the job's complete. Allow the paint to dry thoroughly and carefully remove the tape. A fresh coat of paint will brighten any room, and remember, by using a lighter color you can give the illusion of a higher ceiling. Log on to DIYnet.com for complete instructions. You'll also find how you can buy everything you need to complete this project, along with many other creative DIY kits. Today's kit is brought to you by Ace, the helpful place.
Cuckoo! Oh, man, you know what? No more cuckoos. Every hour, it's the same thing. I come out of my little chalet here, cuckoo, stare at your awful paint color, cuckoo, and I wish they'd never painted eyes on me, huh? Hey, what do you call this color? Life without parole? You people need help.
Leave a note on the door when it's safe to come out.
Need a new paint job? At Ace, you'll find an Ace Royal paint color exactly right for you. Ace, the helpful place.
Ask This Old House on DIY. Tonight at 10 Eastern on DIY. Online at DIYnet.com.
The Help on the Homefront team has been deployed to the home of Heather and Colin Hill. Here we'll be helping Heather tackle some of the chores around the house that have gone untouched since Colin was sent overseas. We're working together to get Heather and the house ready to have Colin return home.
Let's face it, everyone can use a helping hand once in a while, including those who protect our country. When duty calls, they have to drop what they're doing around the house and deploy. So, home repair and improvements just have to wait, right? Well, not anymore, because the DIY crew is here to offer help on the home front. Hi, I'm Ed Del Grande.
I'm Jay Baker.
And I'm Scott Branscombe. Welcome to DIY's Help on the Home Front, the show where military families get a little help around the house from the DIY crew.
Heather Hill lives in Hinesville, Georgia, a military town attached to Fort Stewart Army Base. She and her husband, Private First Class Colin Hill, had just bought their first home when he was deployed with the 123rd Signal Battalion of the 3rd Infantry Division, where he acts as a satellite communications operator. The house is new, and they had a lot of plans for making it their home when Colin shipped out.
Heather, you and your husband Colin had just moved into this house, and you've been here for about a month, and then he was called overseas with Operation Iraqi Freedom. I know it's tough having your husband leave, first of all, but being in a new house that needs some work, you had a double duty to take care of.
Definitely, and trying to keep up with a full-time job and keep up with the house as well was definitely an overwhelming challenge. We've never been homeowners before, and having to deal with the lawn as well as a larger home, it was definitely a challenge.
So you have a lot of projects around here. What projects would you like for us to look at while we're here?
Well, there's a lot of issues because of my animals. They've chewed up some windowsills, which have been kind of a ugly sight to see. And also, we have a dog kennel that needs to be finished, and that would help a lot with keeping them under control with a lot of areas in the home. Also, just redoing the living room would be really nice, because this is where Colin spends a lot of his time, and it'll be the first thing he sees when he walks in the door. So that's the type of things I would really like to focus on while you're here with me.
Heather sure has her honey-do list ready for Colin, but while he's away serving our country, we're making that list just a little bit shorter. We've taken on the task of finishing the dog run in the backyard, putting up some chain link fence that'll enclose the already existing concrete pad, fixing the window sills throughout the house, and even going one step better by adding a window seat in the living room. We'll also be teaching Heather how to be a little more handy around her new house by showing her how easy it is to finish a piece of unfinished furniture, a dining room table. With all that decided, it's time for us to get to work.
I've taken on the job of the windows. To get this project well under control, I'm working with Mike Griffin, the lead carpenter of One Stop Remodeling of Savannah, Georgia. We need to replace all the window sills here, and I'm thinking about maybe just running a ledger board here that gives us some structure for the back of that window seat. Also maybe a melamine board here. We put a piano hinge in the back of it. Flips up, gives plenty of storage access there. With our plan set, Mike and I get to work. To remove the molding, simply cut the caulk that's sealing it. Once you've cut the caulk, use a flathead screwdriver or a flat bar and pry the molding off the wall. In this case, we're not too concerned about the drywall because we're putting the window seat right over this area. Do the same with the sill, also known as the stool, first cutting the caulk and then prying the sill free with a flat bar. Once all the window sills and molding have been removed, we need to remove the floor trim from this area. We're doing this because when the window seat is installed, we'll put a piece of molding right along the front of it to make it look like the house was built with it. Once the sills and molding are removed, it's time to get the new sills cut and installed. Using an 8-foot length of pre-painted pine, I cut the desired lengths, and it's time to get them in place. Mike and I are going through here and making sure each one of the window sills are level. They're just a little bit off, and then we're doing is adding a shim under one end of the window sill to make sure they're good and level. Put a nail in it, we're done.
We'll bring 2x4s across the bottom, across the top to hold our seat in place. Right. And then frame up the sides to hold the end panels.
To build this framing, we're using 2x4s. We've determined that the angle we need to cut to the 2x4s is 22.5 degrees where the boards meet in the bends of the bay window. We will cut 45-degree angles at the ends where we'll have another 2x4 crossing the width of the front of the bay window. When attaching the 2x4s to the wall, be sure to screw them into the studs for the support that you'll need. The cross piece is also cut with 45-degree angles that are opposite of the ones attached to the wall.
For more information on window seats and other home improvement projects, visit our website at DIYnet.com.
When we return, Scott finishes the window seat and I get busy with the dog run on DIY's Help on the Homefront.
Watch DIY Crafts tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern on DIY. Online at DIYnet.com. What are you making?
If an 80,000-seat stadium can have a retractable roof, if a 60,000 horsepower submarine can run silently, if a 2-year-old can have 4-wheel steering, why can't you? At GMC, our engineers don't just ask questions, they have answers. GMC professional grade engineering. It's not more than you need, just more than you're used to.
Good times, family get-togethers, special occasions. How do you keep those memories alive? Watch Scrapbooking on DIY, the do-it-yourself network. Grab your pens, punches, and paper and get cropping. With expert techniques as your guide, you can cut, crimp, and paste super layouts and one-of-a-kind arrangements that'll last a lifetime. Scrapbooking on DIY. Tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern on DIY. Online at DIYnet.com.
Welcome back to DIY's Help on the Homefront. We're here at the home of Heather and Colin Hill, where we've taken on some of the items of the honey-do list that Heather has created for Colin while he's deployed with the 3rd Infantry Division. Scott took on the job of repairing some dog-damaged windowsills, as well as installing a window seat in the living room. Let's get right back to him.
With the framing finished for the window seat, it's time to get the actual seat built. We're using melamine board for the seat structure because it's strong and has a nice cleanable finish. The first piece that we're going to install is the front of the seat. After determining the length to be 93 inches, it's time to cut.
We'll be cutting a 45-degree miter to go back against the wall. And by doing that, this will be our back side of the board, so any chip out will not be seen.
Right.
And the front will be nice and smooth and clean cut.
Now that we have the first miter cut, we measure from that first cut so we're sure to have a tight fit. Using a T-square, we mark the next cut, and again, using a 45-degree miter, we cut our board. Using a chalk line to mark our cut, Mike makes quick work of the 93 inches of melamine. And with that done, it's time to install the front of our window seat. Once the board is fit into place, we secure it with 2.5-inch wood screws from the back along the crossbar of the frame.
What we'll do, we'll cut a hole piece for it. And then we will cut out a lid. Okay. So we don't have any joints here and here. Rather than cutting pieces to put in there, we've got one big piece. When we cut it out, that'll give us an 1/8 inch clearance on all the way around. And when you lift it, it'll have plenty of room for the piano hinge in the back and clearance on each side.
Our final plan is to make the top out of one piece of melamine. We'll leave 3/8 of an inch overhang on the front of the seat, giving it a clean finish. We cut the seat at a 45-degree angle to match the angle of the window area. And we're ready to see how it fits. You might need to trim a little if the walls aren't perfectly true, but we got lucky and it fits just fine. Leaving the seat in place, we've cut some pre-painted 3/4 inch trim to finish the seat area. Once it's all cut to length, we simply nail it into place and finish it with some white caulk. Also use the caulk to fill in the holes where you nailed in the trim. While we're at it, we also finish the window sills with the same caulk. We're almost done now. We have to measure where we want the lift-up seat and cut it out. The one thing you want to make sure of is you don't let this piece fall to the ground because you're going to be using this piece and don't want it to get damaged. To make a nice clean finish on the seat, I'm using an iron-on trim for the exposed ends of the melamine. It's that simple. Just iron it on and you're done. With the lifting portion cut from the seat top, we replace the seat portion back onto the window seat, fitting it right under the trim that we've installed. You've got room here. I quickly finish the iron-on trim for the rest of the window seat, and we're ready for the last steps. Using a piano hinge, attach it to the portion of the seat that is cut out. Once that's done, all you need to do is attach the other side of the hinge to the fixed portion of the seat, making sure that you left the hinge up and outside. Our last step on the window seat is to add the finishing touch of some molding. We found some that matches the existing molding in Heather's house, and after cutting it to size, we nailed it into place. We'll make sure to finish the little return of the bay window with a miter cut piece. With her window seat completed, Heather seems to have found herself a new cozy spot.
I've gotten to work on the dog run for Heather. I have the help of Dempsey Logue, one of the local contractors, and together we're going to make a safe and secure place for the dogs. If you want a concrete floor for your dog run, you will have to pour what's called a concrete pad. After you frame it up, you will have to fill it with concrete. I recommend calling a concrete company, and they'll come down with a big truck, fill it all up with concrete, then simply level it off and let it cure for about 2 or 3 days. Then you're ready to dig the holes for the poles. Once you have the concrete pad, the first thing to do is to set your fence posts in the ground. There are different local and state codes that you'll have to adhere to, so do look into that before you get started. Only 3 more feet. Here we're digging 18-inch wide holes that are 2.5 to 3 feet deep. Once the holes are dug, place the pole in the hole and put in your concrete. We're using one entire 50-pound bag of concrete per hole and then about 5 gallons of water right on top. This will fill in the hole about 18 inches when set. With the concrete in, we then plumb the poles. That is, we make sure the poles are perfectly straight up and down using a level. All 6 poles are up, and we have concrete in the holes. Now, normally you would have to say, hey, you know, we got to wait 2 or 3 days for this to dry and set up, so don't touch anything. But we're in luck because we do have poles going across the top, and this is going to make a frame. So if we're careful, we can continue working. Wow, I know this looks like a lot of tension clamps on this post, but keep in mind this is a corner post, so we have to double up on all the hardware except for this. We only need 1 top cap, and that gives it a good finished look. Over here, this is for our top rails going across. We have 1 going off this way and 1 here, and this special fitting will hold the pipe in place. Right down here, we have some more tension clamps, 3 on each side, and the tension clamps pull the links and really keep them good and tight so you have a great-looking dog run. Dempsey, if you could bring that pole in, we'll slide my end in place. And you could give us the measurements we'll need.
Okay, well, this being a short one, we're gonna mark it, cut it, it'll be ready to install.
We cut the pipe to size using a reciprocating saw. and get it installed onto the posts with the tension clamps. We repeat this process all the way around the dog run. Okay, our top rail supports are in place, so the structure's good and strong. However, we should stop now because the concrete around the poles needs about a day or two to set up. So between you and I, now's a good chance to take a break. When Help on the Homefront returns, you'll see how this slab of concrete turns into a second home for Heather's dogs.
Lowe's celebrates the 4th of July with all American values. Get Charbroil's biggest Big Easy Grill for only $2.49. Buy any Charbroil gas grill and take home this grilling guide CD with 175 recipes free. Only at Lowe's.
Come to Hancock Fabrics for our July 4th weekend sale. You'll find great savings throughout the store. Plus, get an extra 10% off your entire purchase this Thursday through Sunday.
Hancock, your fabric store, and so much more.
When it comes to scrapbooking, there's one question that both beginners and experts always seem to ask.
How'd you do that?
That's why we created Scrapbook Design University. At SDU, you won't just learn the basics of scrapbooking.
You'll also be inspired in ways you never thought possible to turn memories into keepsakes that will last for generations.
And the best thing, SDU is taught right at your local scrapbook store.
Hey, we all ask the question. Now SDU gives you the answer. Log on and learn for yourself.
Get your summer project started at Lowe's with this special credit offer. Pay nothing for 12 months. That's 0 payments and 0 interest for a whole year when you use your Lowe's card on all purchases store-wide of $2.99 or more. Now that's improving home improvement.
This week on the DIY Workshop, build a deck. It's out with the old and in with the new as the experts show you how to build a deck from the ground up. Learn how to choose your design and the right kind of wood. Then get step-by-step instructions on constructing a base, cutting and nailing the floorboards, and how to install a staircase. Plus, see how some people took deck building to the extreme. Build a deck. Weeknights at 10:30 Eastern on DIY. Online at DIYnet.com. Need to tune up your outboard, stay current with accessories, or not feel like a fish out of water? Ship Shape Boating will show you the ropes. Sunday at 9 Eastern on DIY. Online at DIYnet.com. You're watching Help on the Homefront on DIY. Online at DIYnet.com.
Growing up, he heard the stories.
You think somebody will ever find Treasure Planet?
It's a legend. Jim Hawkins is gonna live the adventure.
That's Treasure Planet.
Now,
let's fly!
You can set sail with Jim and his friends.
What a pleasure to meet you, Jimmy. And you are? I want to say Larry.
To a place where dreams come true. Disney's Treasure Planet, rated PG.
Coming face to face with freedom is to journey into the landscape of a nation's vision and pride.
God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood.
Feel the spirit of America. Call now for your vacation guide. South Dakota, come face to face with freedom.
Get ready for high-tech how-to with the Do-It-Yourself Network's Robot Rivals. Gadgets, metal, motors, and rotors. Rival colleges from across the country face off in a Design It and Build It robotic competition. From the proving grounds to the battlegrounds. This challenge will push their ingenuity to the limit.
So let's get to building those bots!
Robot Rivals. It is rocket science. Coming up next on DIY. Online at DIYnet.com.
Welcome back to DIY's Help on the Homefront. We're in Hinesville, Georgia to help Heather Hill. We're going to make her new house a little more homey for herself and her husband, who is serving our country overseas with the Army.
My home's definitely important to me, especially being our first home and a newer home. It was definitely an excitement, and you can't beat the military because we were able to buy a new home in a new area. So that was very exciting. And it's been a tough transition because we're used to living in apartments and living with mom and dad, not having to do a whole lot. And especially myself, I don't know how to do almost everything. I can hammer some pictures into the wall, but that's about it. When I was living at home, I was my daddy's little princess, and now I've been married, I'm my husband's queen, so I haven't had to do much on my own. So it's been a challenge to live by yourself.
How long have you guys been married?
We've been married a little over a year. He did his training in Augusta, Georgia, and I did mine in California. I later got out. It's difficult to have two people in the military at the same time. And then when he's done with this training, we got back together in about October and moved down here.
1 month after arriving in their new home, Colin got his marching orders to ship out with the 3rd Infantry Division to serve our country in Operation Iraqi Freedom.
While Colin's overseas, Heather, with a little assistance from the Help on the Homefront crew, is making this new house into the home they both desire. Ed's ready to finish the dog run, so let's get right back outside and see how things are coming along.
Make sure you save some dirt from your holes because you will need it to backfill around the poles. And I'm going to backfill right now. The reason is, if I fill in the holes, I don't have to worry about tripping over an open pit and getting hurt. Let's keep safety first. When backfilling your holes, make sure to get the dirt good and tightly packed in the hole. If you don't tamp it down now, it'll settle and need to be touched up later. I am so excited. Our fence is starting to look like a fence. We have the first length in place. Now we have to slide the tension bar into one side, and it goes in fairly simple. You just slide it between the links, and Dempsey, you want to help me with that?
Yeah, that's right.
Slide the tension bar all the way through the fence. Use the tension clamps to attach the bar to the fence pole. If you're attaching to one of the corner poles, remember, there are tension clamps for both directions. Leave the appropriate clamps for the other side. With one side attached, it's time to stretch the fence. That is, we have to pull the fence tightly between the posts so we know where to trim it for a good tight fit. The great thing about chain link is that you don't have to cut it. You simply determine where it's to be trimmed and unweave it, like this. Now that the fence is at the length that we need, insert the tension rod. This length is finished. Now all we have to do is pull it into the tension clip, and we clip it together with carriage bolts. With this section of fence done, the rest is just as easy. You just take it one section at a time, and before you know it, you're done. Remember those tension clamps I talked about earlier? Well, check it out. Here's why we needed so many. We need 3 on one side and 3 on the other. The fence is stretched out, but look, it's a little sloppy, so we'll need these. These are fence ties. They just loop around, put them about every foot or so all the way down the line. And when you get to your center post, like we have here, get at least one in the middle and at least one on the bottom. But since it's for dogs and they'll be pushing against this, I recommend using at least 2 or 3 on the bottom. Well, that's about it. Let's put up the gate. There we go. The hardware's all on. Let's get it over to the run. Hey, Dempsey. The great thing about these gates is they come prefabricated, so all you have to do is get the hardware kit and install it. Now we have it in place, and we're just going to slide it up, and that'll lock the latch in. And I'll tell you what, Dempsey, you could finish that up. Okay? Here's another tip. Make sure you leave the proper width between posts so your gate will fit. Well, that's about it. Heather and her dogs are going to be very happy, and I guarantee you they won't dig their way out of this one. Wow. We took an already existing concrete pad and transformed it by adding the chain link fencing into a sanctuary for Heather's dogs. Now she'll feel more comfortable leaving the house, and they won't be tempted to damage anything they shouldn't.
Okay, Heather. You ready to work on your dining room table a little bit?
I can't wait. I'm really excited for that.
Okay, we're going to put a finish on it. We've chosen a pecan finish simply because I think it goes really well with the rest of your decor. And this can sound very complicated. It's not. But we're doing it with rags. You can do it with brushes, but you've got a nice room here. It's nicely painted. You've got a nice carpet. So we put down a drop cloth, and we're doing it with rags simply because we can control the product a lot better. We don't get splatters over onto your wall.
Great.
Okay? Now, it's pretty simple. You've got a sand, and I've sanded this with several different grits of sandpaper to get it down to a nice smooth finish. Wipe it off really well. You can do it with a damp cloth or tack cloth, something like that. Make sure you get rid of all the dust.
Okay.
And then you're ready to dip these rags in and have a little party.
Okay.
The thing to remember is, as we're going, let's work on this surface alone first. We'll make sure that it's nice and even, the way we want it. Rub in a little bit more here, take off a little bit there.
Okay.
Then we'll move down onto the legs and the sides. That's all you got to do.
Wonderful.
Okay, let's get busy. As Heather and I get the top of the table stained, it's important to remember to get a good smooth coat onto the whole surface. Make sure that all the excess stain is wiped away and that all the little nooks and crannies are covered. It's best to do this with rags because the act of rubbing the stain makes it really get into the grain of the wood.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Heather, we're ready to polyurethane. Are you ready?
Definitely.
Okay, a couple of tricks. You need to take the correct safety precautions, but once you're ready to go, it's no more complicated than putting on the stain, really.
Great.
It has to do with going with the direction of the wood, okay?
Okay.
Once again, you want to get plenty of material on the surface. You want to brush it in the direction of the grain of the wood, and then when you're all done, you've got it spread out, then you want to take it and go from one end to the other, just making a solid stride all the way across. Then come back, do the same thing right next to it, and work on one section at a time. That way you make sure that that's the way you want it. Then you move down to the legs, the sides, and everything else. While Heather and I work out the details, this will be a perfect time for us to take a break.
I'm ready.
Okay. When we return to DIY's Help on the Homefront, Heather will complete her table and we'll find out how she feels about the work we've done around the house.
Lowe's celebrates the 4th of July with all American values. Save $5 on every gallon of American Tradition paint. Spend $99 on Werner ladders and get a $30 gift card free with mail-in rebate. Only at Lowe's.
Discover To Go is a great way to always have a credit card with you.
Let's go, guys. Come on. Hey, how you doing? Good, how are you?
It's also an easy way to pay for things.
All right, thanks. Take care. Good day.
Cut the line. Cut the line!
It's not, however, good for sport fishing.
Cut the line! Cut the line!
Discover To Go. Easy to carry, easy to use. Not good for sport fishing. Just 2 more reasons it pays to discover.
Mr. Goodwrench, who is this one and only GM expert? I gotta find this guy. So, Fred, you are Mr. Goodwrench?
That's right.
You say you're Mr. Goodwrench, but that guy says he's Mr. Goodwrench. Well, I'd have a little talk with Chirpy over there, but that's just me. That's how I roll. And you're Mr. Goodwrench.
That's right.
Huh.
Will the real Mr. Goodwrench please step forward?
Find Mr. Goodwrench at over 7,000 GM dealerships nationwide.
All right, pal. Give me the bullhorn.
No.
Come on over to Hobbytown, USA. Hobbytown, USA. Where you will find exciting things every day. Hobbytown, USA. Where you can start a hobby today. If it's RC cars or boats or planes, models, rockets, trains or games, we have everything you need to play. So come on over to Hobbytown, USA.
Lowe's celebrates the 4th of July with all American values. Get Charbroil's biggest Big Easy Grill for only $2.49. Buy any Charbroil gas grill and take home this grilling guide CD with 175 recipes free. Only at Lowe's.
We've done a lot of repairs around here today. For more information on repairs to your home, check out the website at DIYnet.com.
After giving Heather the rundown, we get right to the business of applying polyurethane to the table. One thing to remember when using a brush is that when you get to the edge of the table, the bristles can splatter the polyurethane if you're not careful. So go slow and this should eliminate any problems. Be sure to use a good amount of polyurethane. And once again, focus first on the tabletop and then move on to all the areas underneath. Well, we're done with our second coat of polyurethane, so this table is done. But keep in mind, each coat you add to a tabletop will make it shinier and better protected. You want to use something like a 220 grit sandpaper, sand lightly between each coat and put another one on, give it plenty of dry time.
You didn't tell me it was this heavy. Today, we've helped Heather Hill transform her new house into her new home. While her husband, Private First Class Colin Hill, is deployed overseas, DIY's Help on the Homefront team has tackled some of the list of chores that Heather wouldn't have been able to accomplish herself. Scott replaced some dog-chewed windowsills, and while he was at it, installed a beautiful window seat to add to the overall charm of the living room. Jay taught Heather how to stain and seal a table, showing her that it really isn't as difficult as she might have thought. And I lent a hand in fencing a dog run to keep the hounds at bay. We also brought in one of the local contractors to paint Heather's living room. She picked the color not only to create a dramatic change in the room, giving it some warmth and depth, but also to accentuate her decor. Overall, this has been a wonderful experience for everyone involved. Let's see what Heather has to say about it.
I just like to thank you guys so much for coming and doing this for me. You guys have made such an impact on my life in one day, and it's been great. I mean, the change is so dramatic, and Colin's gonna be so shocked, and it's gonna be so great for him to come home and have such a dynamic change in the home. He's just gonna appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Heather, we're glad we can help. I'm Ed Del Grande.
And I'm Scott Bransco.
I'm Jay Baker. This has been DIY's Help on the Homefront.
Welcome to another DIY kit. Everything you need to complete a do-it-yourself project. For detailed lists, instructions, and more, go to DIYnet.com and click on DIY Kits. Today's kit will show you how to make a no-sew fleece blanket and is brought to you by Hancock Fabrics. To get started, you'll need 1 2/3 yards of print outerwear fleece, 1 2/3 yards of a solid outerwear fleece, a tape measure, 2 cutting mats, 1 large and 1 small, a quick cut guide, and a 45 to 60 millimeter rotary cutter. Whether for a kid's room or a comfy throw for the couch, fleece has wonderful color choices and fun prints to choose from, like this blanket we're making for the family room. First, cut a square of each fabric that measures 56 to 58 inches square. This measurement should be a whole number. Remove the selvages. Place the squares over each other, wrong sides together. You'll need to cut a 5-inch square from each corner. To cut fringe, lay 1 piece of fabric on the large cutting mat, then fold 5 inches to be fringed back over the smaller mat. Place the quick cut guide on top. There are small grooves where the rotary cutter fits in. Cut fringe 1 inch wide and 5 inches deep on all sides. Now, using an overhand knot, tie the front and back fringe together. Do this all the way around the blanket, being careful not to stretch the fabric. In no time at all, you'll have a beautiful no-sew blanket that's warm and attractive. And since this was so easy, you'll have time to make a pillow to match. Just use a pillow form measuring 18 by 18. Cut a square of fabric which is 18 inches plus 10 inches square. Follow the same steps as the blanket, but to assemble, tie 3 sides, then slip the pillow inside. Finish tying, and you're done. It's that easy. Log on to DIYnet.com for complete instructions. You'll also find how you can buy everything you need to complete this project, along with many other creative DIY kits. Today's kit has been brought to you by Hancock Fabrics.
Come to Hancock Fabrics for our July 4th weekend sale. You'll find great savings throughout the store. Plus, get an extra 10% off your entire purchase this Thursday through Sunday.
Hancock, your fabric store, and so much more.
DIY, the Do-It-Yourself Network, is seeing stars. Actors, musicians, athletes, and models are showing you what they do and how they do it. Celebrity Hobbies, Sunday at 8 Eastern on DIY.
Big home repair or remodeling project? Relax. Now there's DIY, a whole new perspective on home repair and remodeling.
Weekdays at 8 Eastern.